call to order the March Vermilion County Council meeting. Please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, roll call. Mr. Costello.
Here.
Mr. Somerville.
Here.
Ms. Brown. Here. Mrs. James and present. Mr. Weir.
Here.
And Mr. Bose.
Here.
And Mr. Brown. He's not here this morning.
No.
All right. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from our February 12th meeting. Are there any addition, corrections, or comments for those minutes? Anything? Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Is there a second?
Where?
All right. I have a motion for Mr. Somerville and a second for Mr. Weir to accept the council minutes from February 12th, 2024. Excuse me. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Minutes are approved. Next, we have the treasurer's report. She has her monthly report and the interest report. Any questions or comments regarding those?
None?
Okay. Moving along, we have the quarterly comp time report. We have the countywide comp time hours as of 3/1/2024. Any questions or comments for that report? Okay, we are moving along. Now we have one transfer of funds. Is a request from Economic Development. They are asking to move $5,500 from capital assets into professional services. This is to pay for the Thrive Spark Revolving Loan Fund program, which the commissioners did approve at their February 27th meeting. The Spark Revolving Loan Fund is asking for a match of that $5,500. It's a one-time grant match request. This will also ensure us access to the revolving capital for the life of the program. It's for small businesses, and they work in conjunction with local leaders, Indiana Small Business Development Center, local governments, Chamber of Commerce, and other community business groups. So this is a program that will allow Vermilion County into they received $800,000 in federal funding from the Economic Development Administration, and so they are required to have a 20% match, and our part would be the $5,500. So the commissioners did approve it. We were just asking to transfer money to pay that $5,500. And Amanda's here if anyone has questions for Amanda on that.
And it doesn't have to be voted.
Yes. Yes, it has. It's a voting transfer.
I'm making a motion that we approve the transfer of funds in the amount of $5,500.
Okay. I'll second. Okay. I have a motion from Mr. Weir, a second from Ms. Brown, to approve the transfer of $5,500 from capital assets to professional services for economic development. All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, state no. Transfer is approved. Okay, that is the end of transfers. And surprisingly, we have no additional appropriations this month. We have no old business. We do have a couple items on new business. The first one is a resolution to transfer money funds into the rainy day. We've previously established the rainy day fund, and occasionally if we have extra money in the general fund, we have transferred it over. This resolution is in the amount of $300,000 to move from the 2023 general fund budget to the general fund, from the general fund and into the rainy day funds. It is something we can do, we don't have to do. Basically, the rainy day fund is just like a savings account. It does get invested, it earns interest too. So it's just to replenish that rainy day fund from when we've used it in the past. If it is something we'd like to do, it does take a vote, so I would need a motion and a second and a final vote. Is there any thoughts on that?
Is this something that needs done?
I won't say it has to be done. I mean, it's just a matter, sometimes we take the extra and put it in there, just,
Collect a little bit of interest on it, you know?
Yeah, that's good.
What's the
It's
advantage
a bit
of
of a
it?
psychological trick too, Jeff. It's like having a savings account or something like that. It's not here, right here where you're.
it's more of a guaranteed way to kind of put it back and
Checking
save it.
account.
Yeah.
It's in savings.
Yeah,
can make interest on it.
Taking from your check and putting it into
Yeah,
your
Savings, yeah. You can always,
You can use it for anything you
Right,
want.
we can
all you
always
do is
use it.
appropriate it.
if
Yeah.
you need it.
It's out of.
It's just not in the general fund.
It's not really out of sight, out of mind, it's just in a different account. Yeah.
This is from previous budget year, unencumbered,
Yeah.
Last year's,
approved budget.
in a percentage of the, you can go, this year, there's a couple year period where for some reason the legislature said you could go up to 15%. Starting next year, it goes back down to 10. But you can take up to a certain percentage of your unexpended appropriations and transfer them to rainy days. And so,
Sometimes it helps with the budgeting process, correct?
it can, because it doesn't count towards your,
Right.
it doesn't count towards your fund balances for your general fund when you go to look at what
Right,
tax
you
rate
take that out, yeah.
Yeah, it's over here, and so, we did it last time, it was like 2021, 2020, something like that.
It's been a while.
Yeah, I have some people who do it every year routinely. and-
Your school corporations, you do that often, let's put it that way, if they can establish that. It just helps with the whole budget process.
Yeah, it just, it,
Like you said, it's not figured into the, unless it's changed, it's not figured in.
that's the
Right.
benefit of doing it, it doesn't count towards your balance when it comes to calculating your budget. But it's there and it's available for anything, but it tends to end up being used, as the name would indicate, for something unprogrammed, unbudgeted.
Yeah.
Something comes up,
The-
and oh, we forgot to tell you we need 10 new sheriff's cars this year.
The resolution is not so we can spend it, it's just putting it in the
Right.
account. But to be spent, it would have to have the additional appropriation on it.
I'll make the motion.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. I have a motion for Mr. Somerville, a second for Mr. Bose, to approve Resolution 2024-02 to transfer $300,000 into the rainy day fund. Is there any further discussion? All those in
Makes sense.
favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, state no. Okay, resolution is approved. And the last item of new business tonight is another resolution. It is 2024-03. It is transferring funds from the general fund to the improvement fund. This would be authorizing a transfer of $2 million, which is the estimated health insurance payments for part of 2023 and all of 2024 that have or will have been paid from the ARPA fund, from the general fund, that's Fund 1000, to the improvement fund, Fund 4950. This goes back to, we had the ARPA money, the federal money, and we used it to reimburse the health insurance expenses, so that way we're still keeping it a separate fund. That's moving it to this improvement fund, so we could still keep track of it. But that way we met the federal guidelines, and we don't have to do all the extra reporting that they're requiring for each individual project. So it's still there to be spent, but it's just a different name of a different fund.
Basically, this is just helping us simply work through the process.
Yeah, it's
So
just,
it's all in one fund,
Yeah.
and they're not going 6, 10 different ways.
Yep.
And it was totally allowable. I mean,
Right.
there were certain amounts,
It's all
up to certain
appropriate.
amounts, certain size
Yeah.
uh,
We were all within the federal
Buell County
guidelines.
has a different set of rules.
Yeah,
Because of the amount of money.
I think even if you had some counties that may have had significantly more funding available, I think they were still able to do that up to a certain percentage of it, but regardless, we were able to do it 100%.
Yeah, so basically, we pay the insurance with the ARPA money, and then the money that we would have used out of the general fund, now we're taking that money from the general fund and putting in like this improvement fund. So it's just
Sure,
moving
and I
it
think
around,
the
shifting
plan
it.
was
This
already-
is a combination psychological project and legal. The legal is we have to spend the ARPA money by a certain deadline, so we will accomplish that. And then the psychological part of it is, again, we're moving it to a special place. that can be used
Yeah,
for
because the
anything you
intent
want.
won't change. The intent of the money
Right.
from the ARPA funds will still be as intended to
Yeah.
spend on those
And then
certain projects.
Have to be approved by the commissioners and come to you for appropriation for it.
Just
Mhm.
like Mike did.
Yeah, like we did on the highway, it requires the additionals, so.
And
I'm making a
they,
motion.
the commissioners also set up some type of application form for this improvement stuff too.
You guys already gave them.
We gave them a certain amount of money to use first. So,
Okay, I had a motion for Mr. Costello, is there a second?
yes.
Okay. I have a motion for Mr. Costello, a second for Mr. Weir to approve Resolution 2024-03 to approve the transfer of $2 million from the general fund into the improvement fund. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, please signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Those opposed state no. Resolution 2024-03 is approved. That is all we have on the agenda this evening. Is there any public comment tonight? No? I am shocked. It's a very short month. I'm sure we won't always end.
Does the $2 million transfer, just real quick, does that have, does the highway department projects come out of that?
Yes, that 47. You
Okay,
can
so
go
those,
out of
okay,
that.
so that hasn't been spent yet, okay.
And the 50,000, even though I think they still have to come back. Didn't you guys give the commissioners 50,000 for their?
We didn't actually do the formal.
Okay. So they still have to come back to you every time?
When we had the joint meeting, we kind of had an agreement upon a starting basis, but I don't think they ever submitted the formal request for it. So it was just
That
to
would come out
establish
of
it.
that as well.
Mm-hmm.
That was for the applications they received? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Any other comments?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion?
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
And that's a record there.
Right?